Hi, good day everyone. My name is Wendell Milka and I'm the first reporter for Lesson 5. And today I'm gonna talk about the artist and artisan. But before we start, here are some learning outcomes. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to outline the history of the emergence of artists and artisans, recognize and critically discuss the function of state sponsorship in the field of arts and culture through the National Artist Award and the Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan or GAMABA. Identify and define the different individuals and groups who takes on varied roles in the world of art and culture. And classify the practices of artists in terms of form, medium, and techniques. And now that that is out of the way, let's proceed to our lesson. Now, ano nga ba tong artist and artisan na to? At ano yung pinagkaiba nilang dalawa? Now, let's start with artist. Pag sinabi nating artist, ano yung una nyong naiisip or pumapasok sa utak nyo? Painter ba? Magaling ba na songwriter? Or maybe artista? Artists are usually focused on expressing ideas, emotion, or a worldview. They create things that are meant to be appreciated for their beauty or emotional power, like paintings, sculptures, or performances. Their process is often about self-expression and pushing boundaries, and their work is usually judged more on its originality and emotional impact. So again, when we say artist, maraming iba't ibang artist, okay? Uri ng artist. At bukod dun, meron din silang iba't ibang way to express their ideas. At bukod dun, marami rin silang iba't ibang way to express their ideas, worldview, pero most of the time, emotions. Artists often express their emotion through their art. So, bigay tayo siguro ng example. So, painting. Think of an artist like Vincent van Gogh or Frida Kahlo, whose works are celebrated for their emotional depths and unique styles. Now, kung di kayo familiar sa dalawang artist na to, isa to sa mga work ni Vincent van Gogh, ang Starry Night. For sure, familiar ang iba sa inyo neto. And para naman kay Frida, well-known siya sa paggawa ng mga self-portrait. Ito yung mga gawa niya. And yun na nga, yung mga work nila are celebrated for their own emotional depth and yung mga unique na style nila at their time. Next natin dito is ang sculpture. Artists like Augustin Rodin or Michelangelo create a three-dimensional art that can evoke a range of emotions or tell a story. Ngayon, di ba, most of the artists is, alimbawa yung mga painter, two-dimensional lang sila gumagawa ng art. Itong mga artist naman na to, ay gumagawa sila ng art in three-dimensional. Ito yung mga sculpture. Sa mga famous example dito, ay ang gawa ni Michelangelo, which is ito, ang iconic niya na gawa. Ito. And that is sculpture. For the next one, we have music. Composer like Beethoven or contemporary musician who created original piece that connect with an audience on an emotional level. Now, kung di kayo familiar kay Beethoven, ito ang isa sa mga gawa niya. And for my last example, literature. Writers like Shakespeare or modern novelists who use language creatively to explore human experiences. And that is the few example ng mga work ng mga artist. The main focus for an artist is on innovation, personal expression, and often challenging the status of the quo or exploring new ideas. And that is artist. Ngayon, ano nga ba ang artisans? For sure, marami sa inyo familiar na kung ano yung artist, pero ano nga ba yung artisan? Ngayon, artisan on the other hand are skilled craftsmen who create functional or decorative object, often with a strong focus on traditional and technique, or tradition and technique, often with a strong focus on tradition and technique. They might work in fields like pottery, woodworking, or textile making. The work of an artisan is often practical but also beautiful, showing a high level of skill and attention to details. Now, when it comes on artisans, sobrang mga skilled craftsman nito nila. Sila yung mga gumagawa ng mga flower base na yung mga details, sobrang details masyado. Itong mga artisan na to, mga gawa nila ay mostly traditional work na kailangan ng high-level skill para ma-perfect. So making things by hand with a strong emphasis on a quality, tradition, and functionality. Their work often involves a high level of craftsmanship and they take pride in perfecting their techniques over time. And here's some example of artisan's craft. First dyan is ang pottery. An artisan potter might create beautiful crafted vases, yung mga bowl, or maybe plates. These pieces are not just functional but often showcase in intricate design and glazing techniques. So next natin dito is yung woodworking. Magaling din sila doon. A skilled carpenter or woodworker might handcraft furniture like chairs, tables, or cabinets, focusing on durability and fine details such as curve, patterns, and inlays. Next is yung textile making. Weaver on embroiders who create fabric, tape threads, or clothing items. Their work might include traditional patterns passed down through generation or new design made with traditional technique. Next is metalworking. Blacksmith or jeweler who works with metal to create tools, decorative items, or maybe jewelry. This could include anything from handcrafted knives, delicate silver rings. And lastly, glass blowing. So itong glass blowing na to, ito yung mga artisan na gumagawa ng shape from a molten glass. Ginagawa nila ito, ginagawa nilang vase or ornaments or a stained glass window. So yung mga nakikita nyo sa bintana nyo ngayon, gawa ng isang artisan yan. The process requires precious and deep understanding of the material. So kung mapapansin nyo, sa mga binigay kong example, lahat sila is yung mga nakikita natin sa pang daily or baka ginagamit natin araw-araw. And they are created by the artisan. Artists are often rooted in tradition, creating objects that are both useful and beautiful. Their work might not be as experimental as that artist, but it reflects a deep respect for crafts and technique. Now, in summary, while artists explore and express, artisans perfect and create with a focus on functionality. Both are vitals in enriching culture, but they contribute in a different ways. And yun, ang artist and artisan. Ngayon na naintindihan natin yung artist and artisan, ano yung mga pinaggagawa nila at anong pinagkaiba nila, pwede na ngayon tayo mag-proceed. So this lesson will introduce the artists who have dedicated their lives to the cultivation of the arts through the work of the great creativity, imagination, and daring throughout history. Their roots can likewise be traced in one of the major milestones in human civilization. Out of the shadow of these caves, astounding headways was seen moving down history from Bronze Age down to the Middle Ages in terms of man continued to utilize his surroundings to create varying expression of his idea and feelings. But the most integral development that allowed this identity of an artist, quote-unquote, to fully emerge is the systematization and sophistication that the art world has become. The impulse to create is at the core of human civilization, much like the impulse to communicate through language. Early on, artists were embedded in the development of culture, and in turn was nurtured by the varying cultures in which it exists. There are numerous monuments and memorials that are plotted over the world, such as the infamous Vietnam Veteran Memorial in Washington, D.C. There are others like cave paintings that have an aura of a mystery, like the Pyramid of Giza, or have the alluded comparison like the Stonehenge. It was in this light that artists work, and most of the time, the products were considered not as artists. It was in this light that artists work, and most of the time, the products were considered not as artworks at all, but rather as a crafts or place under some other category. The use of the word embedded may be taken to be mean that was created automatically circulated in the operation of the society and was not integral to an art object that the identity of its maker be known. But it did not take long before this change.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Rufaina Abdul, the second reporter of the group 5, which is the chapter 5. So my topic is all about the artisan and the guilds. So the text explores why some artists and creative works have survived through time, highlighting the importance of materials, techniques, and conversations efforts. It uses the example of Gothic cathedrals like the Cologne Cathedral to illustrate how medieval believers, despite limited modern knowledge, achieved remarkable results through institution, experimentation, and understanding of materials and their interaction with environment. So, sa figure 7, okay, so this is a fascinating exploration of why some artistic and creation endure through time. Okay, so bakit nga ba nakasurvive yung mga arts work and mga gawa doon, like yung mga nakikita natin sa museum, di ba? Nakikita natin doon, or kapag nakapasok tayo sa isang museum is parang naiisip natin kung paano ba or bakit ba nakakasurvive or nakakatiis or hindi siya nasisira, no? sa isang museum. So, base sa aking nabasa is because of some techniques na ginamit nila or di kaya yung mga gamit nila is bato, bronze, and even some pigment na kayang tiisin nung kanilang mga gawa. So, isa sa mga halimbawa nun is the Gothic Cathedral on the figure 7 at iba pang mga structure na itinayo sa buong European noong Middle Ages. Yung mga craftsman at builders sa nakaraan ay walang mga sophisticadong terminologies at prinsipyo akma sa mga architect at engineer na sinusunod noon. So, nagkamali lang po dun sa una kong pagkabasa, which is the figure 37. 37 po siya. Hindi po siya figure 7. So, the next one is the figure 38. So, in the figure 38, this passage discusses the formalization of craft education during the Middle Ages through the establishment of guilds. Okay, so in the figure 38, these are discussed the formalization. Ibig sabihin is ito yung mga guilds ay may mga laganap noong Middle Ages. Lalo na sa mga establishment na kanilang gawa noong Middle Ages, lalo na sa mga noong 13th to 15th centuries kung saan yung mga bayan is may mga formal na grupo ng mga artist o yung mga manggagawa na kumukuha ng isang particular na specialisasyon like yung mga gumagawa ng sapatos, tela at salamin is may kanya-kanyang silang grupo. Then, yung mga artist is hindi nakabatay sa idea ng mga individual na kapasidad or tagumpay, kundi sa isang pangako nila na magtutulungan bilang isang collector. So, hindi kagaya ngayon na may nag-aaway na dahil sa ganito copy-paste, gina-copy-paste nila yung mga gawa ng iba, which is wala silang so yun nga mga artist ngayon, may mga artist ngayon na gaya nila yung mga gawa ng iba. So next is the figure 39. So this passage describes how master artisan in guild would train apprentice, fostering a collaboration environment. The example of cathedral construction site showcased the device skills involved from metalwork or to stained glass. So sa figure 39, sa figure na ito is naglalarawan kung paano sana yung mga master ng mga artist sa mga guild, yung mga apprentice na nagpapalaganap ng isang kapaligiran ng pakikipagtulungan kung saan umuunlad yung mga kanilang gawa, art, or di kaya yung mga technology. Ang mga halimbawa ng construction site ng cathedral is nagpapakita ng iba't ibang kasanayan na kasangkot mula sa metal and sa stained glass. So next one is the figure 40. This section discusses the influence of guilds and apprenticeship on artist Albrecht Dürer. It highlights his dedication to scholarship and his contribution to the field through his practical treatise on perspective and human proportions. So, sa figure na ito is isa sa mga halimbawa ng mga artist na malakas ang impluwensya. So, isa ito sa mga impluwensya ng mga guild at pag-aaral sa artisan na si Albert Dürer. So, Albert Dürer work written in the first person and supported by illustration offered recommendation rather than strict rules, encouraging readers to explore their own artistic methods. The passage that connects his to Philippines during the Spanish colonial period, where artisans play a significant role in regions and secular art production. While memes means copying, was a primary method of learning. Each locality developed its own unique style, suggesting a blend of artistic tradition and local influence. Yun lang. Next is the figure 41. This passage continues to explore the influence of guilds and apprenticeship in the context of the Philippines during the Spanish colonial period. It highlights the distinct styles that developed in different regions, citing Boholano artists and their unique depictions of sense and sense compared to artists from Rizal or Laguna. So, the text only also emphasized the importance of fresco and selling, importance of Spanish colonial searches in showcasing frescoes and selling paintings, and mention Projects Quezon as a collective effort to document, preserve, and appreciate this art form through technology and heritage conversations. And the specific example of the Search of the is the Most Holy Trinity in Lowi in Bohol. So, and the Church of the Most Holy Trinity in Kuay illustrate the project focus on preserving the artistic treasures. On the figure 42, the last figure, this passage delves into the artist's legacy of Spanish colonial architecture in the Philippines, specifically focusing on the Church of the Most Holy Trinity in Lohay in the Bohol. The church, a national historical landmark, tragically suffered damage during 2013. Nung nangyari yung paglindol noong 2013. But Project Kesame documentation capture its beauty before the destruction. The next is the then shift to the patronage of illustrados and foreign guests, highlighting the popularity of portrait paintings and two other genres, which is the Tepos del País, which means watercolor painting showcasing local inhabitants, and Letras y Figuras, which is combining the word Tepos del País, which illustrative elements for names. The passage concludes by introduction Damian Domingos Academia de Dibujo. A key example of a systematized art education combining elements of guilds and art school and specializing the miniaturismo and classical European styles. So, yun lang po, and wassalam.
A pleasant day to each and everyone. I am Datu Zulkifli Amdodig, and today we're going to discuss my topic, the artist and his studio. Basically, my topic is so long and it may take some time for us to tackle it if uubusin ko yung context na nasa libro. So, I summarized it and encapsulated the key themes or the important details for us to easily identify what we're talking about. Since isa lang yung title ng topic ko, the artist and his studio, pero maraming usapin ang napaloob dito. Binigyan ko sila ng title nila sa table of contents ko para madali nyong malaman kung ano yung pinag-uusapan natin. First one, we have the artist in his studio. Second, the studio model. the art salons and academies, the art world and its complexity, the role of curators, buyers, collectors, and dealers. So first one, we have the artist and his studio. The evolution of the artist's role began in the Middle Ages and continued into the Renaissance, marking a shift from craftsmen to independent artists. This period saw the emergence of signed artworks, indicating authorship and diversification in styles and techniques. The artist studio became a personal space for creativity and negotiation with patrons. So since dati hanggang ngayon, ginagamit talaga ng mga artists ang way na pagpirma o paglagay ng kanilang signature sa kanilang art, indicating of authorship. And yung personal space or yung room na ginagamit nila sa kanilang paggawa ng art nila ay naging room na rin ito sa kanilang negosasyon. Next one, we have the studio model. The studio model dates back to the Renaissance, where artists had segmented workstations or what we call studiolo and bottega, and trained apprentices. This structure allowed for collaboration and skill development, particularly in oil painting techniques that required extensive processes of mixing and layering. Next, we have the art salons and academies. In France, art academies and salons became crucial for supporting art production and discourse. These institutions highlighted criticism and analysis as key components of art engagement, with participation in exhibitions considered an honor. Next, the art world and its complexity. The modern art world consists of a complex network of relationships and exchanges. Howard S. Becker's concept of art worlds emphasizes that artistic work involves collaboration among many individuals, challenging the notion of the solitary artist. So, base nga kay Howard S. Becker, ang concept ng kanyang concept niya sa art worlds ay hindi lamang ito para sa iisang tao na art. Kumbaga, kailangan ito ng collaboration ng higit pa sa isa o higit pa sa dalawang tao ang gumawa nito. Next one, we have the role of curators. Curators play a vital role in interpreting and developing artworks, establishing their significance within broader narratives. Their responsibilities include research, exhibition design, and the overall presentation of art collections. So, sa hindi nakakaalam kung ano ibig sabihin ng curator, ang curator sa Tagalog ay tagapangasiwa. So, sila yung nakabantay sa museo or sa museum na kung saan ay pwede mo silang tanungan kung ano po ba itong art na ito, kung ano yung meaning nito, kung sinong gumawa nito, sino yung author, or di kaya kung ano yung deeper meaning ng isang art, no? So next, we have the buyers, collectors, and dealers. Buyers and collectors are essential players in the art market, often overlapping in roles. Collectors not only purchase art but also influence trends and artists' careers. Art dealers facilitate the distribution and circulation of artworks, requiring expertise in market trends and relationships within the art world. So, yung mga buyers and collectors ng arts ay masyado silang wais, no? Sa kapanahunan ngayon kasi, kapag mas matanda yung art, mas lalong lumalaki yung halaga nito. Kung kaya't dumadami yung bilang ng kolektor at yung mga mamimili kahit wala naman silang hindi naman nila gaano pinapahalagan yung art na yun dahil ini-stock lang nila sa kanilang mga museo, ay pinapatagal nila ito kung kaya't pwede nila itong ibenta sa mas malaking halaga. Yun lamang po at maraming salamat.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So, production process. The process of creating an artwork does not necessarily follow a linear progression. One of the things that one must accept is the fact that the arts have an anarchic dimension to it, allowing it to fully harness its creative potential. The very reason why different art styles, periods, and movements were made possible is because there was a form of flexibility given to artists in terms of how conceptualize and executive their ideas into reality. But this does not mean that there is no guiding principle that governs the general process of art production. The process is essentially tripartite. One is pre-production, two is production, and three is post-production. The artist is always begins with an idea that he wants to express or communicate with his audience. It may not necessarily be fully formulated, and so some form of exposure, research, and the other approaches may be explored to get the idea long before actually making the artwork. This process is of course the pre-production stage. The idea may take a while to form or may come as swift as a bolt of lightning. Some artists, however, birth their ideas when material manipulation is already underway. This is when pre-production sometimes seeps into the production stage. The execution of the art may take a variety of forms such as painting, sculpture, tapestry, photograph, film, a routine or dance, or a composition or music. Even tricky art forms such as conceptual art, which purports to be solely concerned with the ideas, precise and skilled execution, while others need only intuition and a kind of judiciousness in the manipulation of material. Gathering and sourcing the materials needed to the creation of the artwork is either subsumed under pre-production or the production stage. Either way, materials from one of the most crucial aspects that form the direction, quality, and the final output itself. The last stage is the most drawn out, the post-production. Once an artwork is finished, it will then be decided on how it will circulated not only in the art world but the many publics. If the artist decided that he alone should see the work, then so be it. But most of the time, if not always, the creation of the subject requires that it be seen, heard, touched, and or experienced in a variety of ways. Often, it enters into a new sphere inside the domain of museums, galleries, performance halls, theaters, and other art spaces where interaction can take place. Take note, however, that approval, enjoyment, or pleasure are not the same sole reactions that an artist intends to his work. Sometimes it is repulsion, contempt, or even grief, which the artist hopes for. Either way, it is an intellectual and emotional reaction that is often the impetus for creating an artwork. A message is almost always embedded in the artwork, and it is the hope of the artist that his audience come across it or taken from it something that is his hand and alone. There are many aspects that go into post production. This may include allowing the artwork to set, tweaking the artwork, preparing the artwork for transport and display, and even the promotion and inclusion of the artwork in publications or discussion. Next is medium and technique. Like what was previously mentioned, medium is one of the aspects of the art that directly correlates and with composition and presumed finality of the artwork. Medium is the mode of expression in which the concept, idea, or message is conveyed. It may be concrete or tangible, such as painting, sculpture, monuments, and structures, or it may be ephemeral or something transient, such as track, a recording of sound, a film, or a performance. The appreciation or engagement with the artwork is also affected by the medium spatiotemporally. For concretes, for concrete works, the object physically manifested themselves for a prolonged or lasting period. For ephemeral works, on the other hand, it is durational. Chosen medium must not be expected to yield the same result, giving two different artists the same exact material and the general qualifier of painting. The end production will stay very minimal or an in exponential scale. This is where techniques comes in, as if the reason why art history described by the seemingly limitless example of work of arts. The technique of the artwork shows the level of familiarity with the medium being manipulated. It alludes to the necessity of additional tools or implements. Examples are hammer and chisel may come in handy for sculptors, or consideration of time. Example of this is behavior of different kinds of paint, especially in drying time requirements, and the specificity of the site of creation. Example of this is indoor or outdoor production requirements. In Paula Marincola's What Makes a Great Exhibition 2006, it reads that exhibitions are strategically located at the nexus where artists, their work, the art intuitions, and many different public intersections. This opportunity is singular as most interaction in the art world are limited to two players at a time. Exhibitions create an opportunity in which the different roles in the art world get to meet, interact, and even enter into a discussion. One of the most common platforms to engage with the art is through exhibition, either at museums or galleries. Nowadays, there are other exhibition spaces that have opened up for artists to showcase their work. Often, one goes to a museum or a gallery. The white cube often renders everything peaceful and calm. However, the exhibition process is an intricate sequence of events made possible by multiple individuals and groups within and outside the artist and staff. So that concludes my report. I hope you learned something. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Geraldine Piñado from BS Infotech 2B. My topic is about awards and citations. As with any organized endeavor, the arts and cultures have entered into a phase in which another aspect of its practice can be realized. After an artist has spent considerable time in honing his skills, establishing the relevance of the body of his works, and even gaining respect from his colleagues in the art world, he may consider or nominated for awards and citations. So, sinasabi dito, halimbawa bilang estudyante, sa kabila ng ating pagsisikap, meron tayong matatamo balang araw. So, ganun din po sa mga artist, matapos nila gumugol ng mahabang panahon sa paghasa ng kanilang mga kasanayan sa paglikha, kasali na rin ang pagkakaroon ng paggalang mula sa kanilang kasamahan sa mundo ng sining. Maaari silang manominate para sa parangal at para sa reference ng kanilang mga gawa. In history, support for the arts and culture is not limited to the allocation of funding or patronship. One of the most common measures in which artists and other creative producers are given incentives and honor for their work is through state-initiated and given awards and citations. The two major awards given to artists in the Philippines are the Orden ng Pambansang Alagad ng Sining or Order National Artist and Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan o National Living Treasures Award. Sa kasaysayan daw bilang pag-support sa mga artist at iba pang malikhaing producers ay binibigyan ng incentives or yung karangalan sa kanilang gawa. Merong two major awards na binigay sa mga artist dito sa Philippines. Ito yung Orden ng Pambansang Alagad ng Sining at Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan. Sinasabi dito na Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan or GAMABA. This award that acknowledges especially an indigenous artist who despite the modern times remain true their traditions. Ang award na ito ay nag-i-aim ng support and motivate to artists to preserve their artistic heritage for the present and future generations. I have some examples of the artists. In year 2005, we have artists Darhata Sawabe, Eduardo Motok, and Haja Amina Api. In year 2000, we have Alonso Saclag, Federico Caballero, and Uwang Ahadas. In year 1998, we have Lang Dulay and Salinta Munud. And lastly, in year 1993, we have Ginaw Bilog and Masino Intaray. The conferment of the Order of National Artists in Tagalog, Orden ng Pambansang Alagad ng Sining. Ito yung may pinaka-highest na award na binigay sa Filipino individuals na may maraming contributions sa pag-unlad ng Philippine arts. Isa sa mga halimbawa nito ang music, dance, theater, visual arts, literature, film, broadcast art, and architecture and allied arts. Ang pinakauna na recipient sa award na ito ay kilala bilang painter. Ito ay si Fernando Amorsolo. Siya ang pinakaunang national artist sa Pilipinas sa kahit anong larangan. Fernando Amorsolo, siya ang kinilala bilang Grand Old Man of Philippine Art. Siya din ang nag-iisang nagwagi noong taong 1972 and he was a national artist for visual arts. The picture below is awarded for having made significant contributions to the development of Philippine arts. Sinasabi dito na sa kasalukuyan mayroong 66 na nagwagi sa prestigiyosong parangal na ito sa iba't ibang sining. Ang ilan sa kanila ay binigyan ng parangal nung sila ay pumanaw na, habang iba naman ay nagkaroon ng pagkakataong matanggap ito nang buhay pa sila. Narito ang ilan sa mga karangalan at pribilehiyo na natanggap ng isang pambansang alagad ng sining. First is the rank and title proclaimed by the President of the Philippines. Second is isang medal o insignia at isang pagkilala na babasahin sa panahon ng pagawad. Pangatlo naman ay ang mga gantimpalang salapi at iba pang benepisyo tulad ng buwanang pensyon habang nabubuhay pa sila, medical, pang-hospital at saklaw na siguro ng buhay. Pang-apat naman ay isang libing ng estado at paglilibing sa libingan ng mga bayani. Panglima ay isang lugar ng karangalan o itinalagang lugar sa panahon ng pambansang pagtitipon ng estado, kasama ang pagkilala o pagpapahalaga sa mga kaganapan sa kultura. Ang huling pagawad ay noong 2016. Ang picture na makikita ninyo, figure 48, that is the conferment of the 2009 and 2014 Order of National Artist Award led by President Benigno Aquino III, with the recipient Alice Reyes, Cirilio Bautista, Ramon Santos, representative of deceased absent recipient also present. Aquino mentioned 9 national artists on his speech. Sinasabi dito na ang gawad ng manlilikha ng bayan ay nilikha noong 1992 under the Republic Act 7355. Unang iginawa dito sa tatlong natitirang artist sa music at tula noong 1993. Sila ay sina Ginaw Bilog, a master of ambahan poetry. Tungkol ito sa buhay, pag-ibig, kalikasan at mga tradisyon ng tausog sa Sulu. Ang ambahan ay isang mahalagang bahagi ng kultura ng mga tausog at ginagamit ito sa iba't ibang okasyon tulad ng mga kasalan, pagdiriwang at pagpapahayag ng damdamin. And then si Masino Intaray, a master of various musical instruments of the Palawan people. And Samaon Sulaiman, a master of the Kotyapi and other instruments. Figure 50, ito yung medal na binigay sa mga Agamaba artists. Narito ang ilan sa mga incentives or something that motivate or encourage one to do something. Una ay isang espesyal na dinisenyong gintong medalya. Pangalawa, isang paunang grant na may halagang 100,000 at isang buwan ng sahod na 10,000 habang nabubuhay pa sila. Pangatlo, mga benepisyo tulad ng isang maximum na naipon na may halaga na 750,000 para sa mga medical at pang-hospital. Pang-apat, funeral assistance or tribute fit for a national living treasures. Let's wrap it up. According to Woodrow Wilson 1913 relates, you are not here merely to make living. You are here in order to enable the world to live more amply with greater vision. With a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world and you impoverish yourself if you forget that errand. Ang sinabi ni Woodrow Wilson ay isang malalim na pahayag tungkol sa layunin ng buhay. Sa madaling salita, sinabi niya na hindi lang tayo narito para kumita ng pera at mabuhay. Mas malawak pa ang ating tungkulin sa mundo. Sa madaling salita, hinihikayat tayo ni Wilson na huwag lamang tumingin sa ating sariling kapakanan. Dapat tayong magsikap ng mas malawak at magsikap ng gawing mas mahusay ang mundo para sa lahat. Ang kanyang mga salita ay isang paalala na mayroon tayong responsibilidad na mag-ambag sa lipunan at sa mundo. Ang pagiging isang tao ay hindi lang tungkol sa pagiging isang individual, kundi tungkol din sa pagiging bahagi ng isang malaking komunidad.